I'm about to talk about Project 2025. I've talked about it before, but we need to continue to talk about it because some people are still not seeing what is going on. And the Christo fascists are organized, and they are not simply worried about the presidential election. No, they are worried about and organizing top to bottom, local level, city level, state level, all the levels, and they have a whole game plan that is over 900 pages, and it is a Christo-fascist playbook that is looking to basically is anti-LGBT, is anti-DEI, it's anti everything that is not Christian, white, wealthy, and straight, basically. And so if you have not heard about Project 2025, like this person, she's new to this channel. She's never heard of Project 2025, but because of me, she looked it up. She says, what in the Handmaid's Tale did I just look at? Exactly. They are organized and they're coming for our rights, but we have people that are still arguing, well, it's both sides, it's both sides. And they're doing that and they're ignoring the organizational skills of these Christo fascists that simply want to strip women's rights away. So we're about to talk about it. So this mandate for leadership, this playbook is over 900 pages, and they are letting us know that they are ready to roll this out soon as they get Trump into office. They are not playing games. They are organized. If you listen to how some of the leaders of this movement talk, you know that they are the ones that are in charge. Who they get as a puppet in the presidency is just kind of the icing on the cake, and who's going to rubber stamp what they put out, their initiatives.
What is Project 2025? It is everyone here. This is the movement. What we're doing is systematically preparing to march into office and bring a new army of aligned, trained, and essentially weaponized conservatives ready to do battle against the deep state.
No more bringing butter knives to gunfights. The woke left doesn't merely have a different vision for America. Their vision is to destroy everything that makes America America. This new iteration of the left, tyrannical, elitist, anti-American, anti-Constitution, cannot be bargained with.
They want to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life. I bet. That sounds cool, but they are basically saying that a family is simply a man and a woman in a home with their two kids, basically. So that is obviously excluding, single parent homes. They're obviously demonizing or anti-gay parents. They are talking about, this is the nuclear family and this is what we're going to do. So they are demonizing everything else. Like this says, today the American family is in crisis. 40% of all children are born to unmarried mothers, including 70% of Black children. There's no government program that can replace the hole in a child's soul cut out by the absence of a father. Fatherlessness is one of the principal sources of American poverty, crime, mental illness, teen self-deletion, substance abuse, rejection of church, and high school dropouts. So many of the problems government programs are designed to solve but can't are ultimately problems created by the crisis of marriage and the family. The world has never seen a thriving, healthy, free, and prosperous society where most children grow up without their married parents. If current trends continue, we are headed towards social implosion. Furthermore, the next conservative president must understand that using government alone to respond to the symptoms of the family crisis is a dead end. Federal power must be instead be wielded to reverse the crisis and rescue America's kids from the familial breakdown. The conservative promise includes dozens of specific policies to accomplish this existential task. But when you think about what they are literally doing, they are trying to strip labor laws to where teenagers can work in manufacturing, work in construction, work in roofing, work in factory jobs. They are trying to lower, in some cases, they're trying to lower the age limit and keep it low where children can still get married. They are attacking schools and teachers, running off teachers, the book bannings. Nothing that they say actually aligns with helping children. What they are doing is basically trying to recreate the nuclear family in their perfect image and excluding other people. And I don't know what kind of programs you can put in place that will like turn around fatherlessness. Like, how are you going to legislate keeping fathers in the home? And what if these people are abusive, or what, like, how can you even create some legislation around that? All right, so skip down to the bottom. The next conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for the woke culture. This starts with deleting terms for sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitivity, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other terms used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every federal rule, agency, regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. So they're saying that they are trying to like protect people's First Amendment rights while also trying to delete all of these things that make us who we are. People do have a gender identity. People are diverse and require some equity, but they are trying to erase that. This is it's a it's an attack. And you can clearly see it. They are coming out the gates saying this. That's the reason why you see so many book bannings starting at the school level, because the local level is where you get into the minds and hearts of children. We've already seen how organized they are as far as they got the conservative Supreme Court justices in there. And that's when they started attacking affirmative action. They started attacking DEI at the college level. And they also started attacking the fearless funds and all of those types of programs that are aimed at helping minority and Black women create businesses. They simply want a society where white people can thrive. And people are saying, this is just both sides. No. What other attacks are you, like, what literal attacks can you see that compare where the Democrats are creating a playbook that is targeting so many people from this many different angles? This is literally everybody that's not straight Christian and white and male. Now watch this video from Dara Star Tucker. Her analysis is amazing.
There are some very big plans underway for Trump's potential re-entry into the White House.
We are going to be prepared day one, January 2025, to hit the ground running as conservatives.
A group called the Heritage Foundation is currently developing a game plan to have boots on the ground the day he's inaugurated.
Project 2025 will ensure a conservative agenda is ready to roll on day number one.
Make sure that we, as conservatives, are prepared to hit the ground running January 20th, 2025.
They've laid forth an extremely intricate plan to staff not only his administration, but to change the fundamental makeup of every governmental entity so that it lines up as closely as possible with their vision of what America ought to look like. The Heritage Foundation is also planning to eliminate what they call the administrative state, which pretty much means scrapping or gutting every government agency that regulates anything: food, water standards, education, transportation. It sounds extreme, but this is literally their plan.
What we're doing is systematically preparing to march into office and bring a new army of aligned, trained, and essentially weaponized conservatives ready to do battle against the deep state.
They're essentially preparing to make over the government in their own image, which is a decidedly white Christian nationalist one. And these folks are not for play. I'm Dara Star Tucker, and this is The Breakdown. The Heritage Foundation, the nation's most powerful conservative think tank and lobby group, is gearing up for something called Project 2025. You may have heard about it. Well, it's as disturbing as you've probably heard. Worse, actually. The Heritage Foundation is a not-for-profit, right-wing public policy organization that's been around since the early 70s. It was founded for the explicit purpose of advancing conservative values in government. And you might think, that's not so horrible, is it? There are liberal think tanks that do the same thing, right? Nowhere near this level. Besides being funded by scores of multimillionaires, the Heritage Foundation is extremely well organized and is determined to wield its influence at every level of government. They combine forces with over 50 of their fellow conservative lobbying groups to form a sort of right-wing Voltron that will undoubtedly represent the most far-reaching consolidation of power that conservatives have been able to amass up until now. They've pooled their influence and resources and have released a plan that they spent $22 million developing that's basically a war manual for orchestrating every detail of Trump's next term. Right now with Project 2025, they're soliciting tons of conservatives to submit their resumes and credentials to their website so they can continue to build a right-wing LinkedIn of applicants who will be vetted, interviewed, trained, and ready to step into their new positions on day one of a second Trump presidency. They're even advising them on how to start applying for their national security clearances. They're not wasting any time. They're gearing up for the re-implementing of something called Schedule F, an executive order that Trump signed October of 2020 that would have allowed him to change government policy so that he could fire a bevy of civil servants whose jobs are considered political. It's estimated that around 50,000 government employees fall into this category. He didn't want anyone working in government who wasn't going to be a willing foot soldier for his agenda. Biden shut that down immediately, but Trump is planning to reinstate it. So with Project 2025, they want to defund the Department of Justice, completely gut the Environmental Protection Agency, get rid of the Department of Education, the Department of Commerce, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which funds PBS. They want to get rid of the National Endowment for the Arts, get rid of the Commission on Civil Rights, get rid of anything that protects consumers, supports marginalized groups, or regulates businesses. They call those agencies governmental waste. Funny that the Defense Department isn't on that list. They're recommending that all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in government be scrapped and that any protections for the LGBTQ community be done away with. The document confoundingly refers to trans people as pornographers and pedophiles and says they ought to be jailed. The line between the church and the state is egregiously crossed again and again. Trump's not going to read the document. He'll get the highlights and let the Heritage Foundation do the heavy lifting. This is a 1,000-page document that he is absolutely not going to take the time to read. The thing that has always made the Heritage Foundation so effective is their ability to condense their policies into bite-sized pieces, so legislators and government officials have a quick reference sheet to know exactly what their position should be and how they should be voting and setting policy. The Heritage Foundation has liaisons on Capitol Hill whose job it is to coach lawmakers on these issues and frame things in a way that they can quickly understand when it's time to cast their votes. And honestly, this isn't even the half of it. And if this sounds alarmist, good. Bells and whistles should be going off in your head right now. Even if the Heritage Foundation is only able to accomplish half of what they have on their wish list, this is not good. And there is not a single solitary soul that is paying me to say this. Do not unplug. Do not bury your head in the sand. Pay attention and keep your hands on the wheel. And as Maya Angelou told y'all, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
So we already saw what happened in Texas with Kate Cox, how this woman had a non-viable fetus, but instead of letting her get rid of it, they took it to court. They took her to court. This is the reason why politics is personal, because politics actually does impact people's real life. Women in Tennessee are also joining a lawsuit. They're challenging the trigger ban that went into effect after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Like this story, Rebecca Milner, she learned that she was pregnant with her first child in 2023 after several attempts at fertility treatments. She was 20 weeks and then her water broke, basically. A specialist told her that basically her water breaking meant that this fetus was not going to survive. The sucky part about this was a wanted pregnancy, but they were going to make her remain pregnant. And that's what these red states are doing. They are making these women remain pregnant, which impacts their future capacity to have babies. So this woman had to travel out of state to get the procedure done. But what about the women who cannot travel and then they have to get a full hysterectomy or they die or whatever? It's consequences to this. And so many women are being harmed. But instead of having some humanity about this and recognizing that a doctor and the woman should have the opportunity to create, the game plan for the woman, no, they are doing these hardline stances that harm women. Several states put some abortion on the ballot box, and they got smashed because women still want to have the right to choose. Even in red states, women want to have the right to choose. So, what did Ohio do? They did a workaround because they were one of the states that got smashed at the ballot box. And then they came for this woman saying that she abused a corpse, but they weren't really so concerned about this corpse because the fetus was non-viable. What they were trying to do is create a workaround that said that this corpse was a human when it was literally a non-viable fetus. So they were still coming at women, but using her by proxy.
House voted today to end spousal immunity for rape.
You can't have men with one group of rights and women with a completely different group of rights once they get married. It's disgusting, it's awful, and it's something that we as Ohioans are better than. We shouldn't have this on the books.
But on the books, it firmly sits. Ohio is one of a dozen states that has carved out exceptions to protect men who rape their wives. Ohio House Bill 161 would change that.
You know, the legislature is by and large men. The vast majority of the people in the legislature are men. And this bill is men coming together and saying, no more. The sins of our fathers are not going to flow through me. We're done with this. We're putting men and women on an equal footing, and we're moving forward.
The vote on the bill, 74-1. Only Xenia Representative Bill Dean voted to keep spousal rape legal. He's not returned my phone calls, but told reporters it's only rape if the couple is separated or divorced, not if they live under the same roof.
So it's perfectly legal for a husband to drug and rape his wife in Ohio right now. OH, damn it.
But the fight is not over. The bill now goes to the Senate, where Graham says there are lawmakers who oppose it. They just don't want to go on the record as a protector of rape.
Not many people have the political wherewithal for this to be the hill they die on.
Yeah.
And so what they'll do is they'll try to keep it from getting committee hearings. They'll try to keep it from ever getting a vote so that they don't have to publicly advocate against it. And I hope for Ohio's sake that anyone that does advocate against this bill is found out and identified and is held accountable in the court of public opinion.
And what are all these Christo fascists doing? They are running the OBGYNs out of these states because it is very hostile to work in these states. So Idaho is closing down shop on labor and delivery. Mississippi shut down labor and delivery. There's something from the New York Times talking about how these laws are driving away obstetricians from red states. So we have to keep talking about these policies because they are sweeping and these people are organized. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.